Aloha! This is Trinidad, your island man, back for the exciting conclusion. Number 4 of the CW crossover, Invasion. Concluding with Legends of Tomorrow. As we saw from Arrow the other night, the Wave Rider came in, saved Oliver and Team Arrow, Thea, Thea, Sarah, Ray Palmer, Diggle, all from the alien ship, and their fantastic escape on the escape pod. Here we have, once again, a shot of the Hall of Justice. Fantastic. Can't believe that they're showing this. This is truly historic, this and the Super Friends. But let's go ahead and get into this issue. We find out that, as I suspected, the Legend of Tomorrow team, or at least a few handful of them, Heatwave, Steel, and of course Vixen, go back in time to 1951 when the aliens first arrived, along with Cisco and Felicity. And basically they're the cause that they had departed so long ago, where they arrived and then nobody knew why they'd suddenly disappeared. Well, now we know. They came back, they took a captive, questioned him, and as Cisco found out, meddling with time and being there, he kind of actually caused, his own little flashpoint, or what, the Cisco point, I guess, is what they call it. And that's why the aliens had decided to return. So, but essentially, everything kind of works out. We finally get a big shot of the fight between the aliens and the superheroes. Fabulous stuff. They duke it out right on the rooftops, high above Star City, and it's fabulous. Everybody's involved. Diggle, Supergirl, the Flash, Arrow. Arrow gets knocked off the building. Supergirl saves him, and and thus earns, she earns a nod from the Green Arrow himself. So hey, thanks, without saying so much. But yeah, so it's pretty fantastic. In the past, well, we get to see a steel suit, just like the comics, minus the sleeves. But I think the short sleeves was kind of a good choice for them. So it kind of works out that way. So we go ahead and we get to see, Cisco finally come to terms. He realizes how delicate time is, messing with the timeline, and how really, like the story says, you go back in time hunting dinosaurs and you step on a butterfly and then everything changed. And sometimes you can't help it. You don't know what's going to happen. You go back with the best of intentions, trying to save the future, and it, causes these fractures in the timeline, essentially. So at least with this big crossover, it seems that, the divide between Cisco and Barry Allen has been, restored, sealed up. They are friends once again. And, it's nice to see so many Easter eggs, or so it seemed. This had a very, during the fight and some of the other aspects of it, the Dominators with the meta bomb, their hatred, and even some of the, the humans' distrust of metahumans, all the way from Arrow asking, Supergirl to sit out of meeting with the president, which turned out to be a trap by the AKA Men in Black, essentially. So it turns out very interesting. And then previously on the Arrow team, Mad Dog, disliking Supergirl, and even Barry Allen, since he didn't know them previously. So, just kind of had an X-Men kind of feel in that vibe, especially with the meta bomb, which would only target, metahumans, not mutants per se, but metahumans in the DC case. That's kind of what they call their superpowered individuals. But so it was nice to kind of see that. Another kind of nod to the X-Men movies, We get the Flash doing his Quicksilver scene, repointing the guns and saving everybody during that Men in Black encounter. You know, he actually catches a bullet, turns it around so that it shoots the person who fired it. Then he points a lot of them at the ground and such like that. So that was kind of a nice, interesting nod. They seem to have like so many of those. Finally, at the end, where everybody's kind of gathered together and with the president and stuff, we know everybody will be back because, you know, they do it at the Hall of Justice. You know, they know that at least the president can count on calling these heroes in for anything of a global emergency where one or two can't handle it. And even, I think it was Supergirl who said, Earth's mightiest heroes. Kind of a nod to the Avengers. You know, the Super Friends here being Earth's mightiest heroes, at least in the DC universe, until we find out about the Justice League in another year or two. But yeah, so it was really good. We got to see some of Stein's daughter. I think, you know, just again playing with the timeline. That's been very interesting, seeing what effects and influences that has on everyone. So I suspect Stein will find out that his wife had died maybe during childbirth and that all he has now is this daughter. He's decided to keep her. I don't know if that means that maybe her and Jax will merge into Firestorm. I could see that coming up if something happens to Professor Stein, you know. So I hadn't heard any rumors that he's departing the show, but he is older, the most established actor on there, so it's likely that maybe, you know, after, you know, 2 seasons, going into 3 seasons maybe, with Legends of Tomorrow, that he might want to do something different. You know, it's a rigorous schedule television, so I don't recall seeing the actor on too many other shows, you know, just to my own personal knowledge, so I'm not sure about that. And then finally, here again, at the end, you know, we have a fabulous, you know, Easter egg moment that, you know, we get to see Kara Danvers in her, you know, Supergirl, as Kara Danvers in her disguise, walking amongst them. And what does Brandon Routh say? Hey, right here, he says, hey, she kind of looks like my cousin. You know, that's a direct nod to the DC movie universe when Brandon Routh had played Superman in Superman Returns. You know, thus Kara Danvers would be his cousin, Supergirl. So that was a really nice and funny nod that they did. So other than that, I'd have to say everything went so well with this, and of course they set it up for future crossover events because Cisco gives Supergirl the you know, interdimensional transporter and transmitter, so that yes, she can return. Others can come over to her universe. I would so like to see maybe, you know, the Green Arrow and Jimmy Olsen's Guardian team up to do something, you know, over there on Earth 38, we found out that it's called. I think that would be really interesting. Or maybe even, you know, working with the, with her sister, you know, which would be really interesting. You know, I could so see that, you know, the two of those guys duking it out or teaming up in a fight, you know, since they're non-powered, of course. But, you know, she could always throw on the special Kryptonian suit, you know, that they keep for that. So, there you go. It's all set up for future potential ones. I loved the fight. Had so much action in it. It was probably maybe, what, 10 minutes? At least, 7, 10 minutes of alien on hero action. We got to see a good distribution of powers. You know, we got Felicity's mention of this is a job for Supergirl, And then the Flash being inside, it's like, hey, what about me? Oh, I meant Supergirl. This is a job for Supergirl and the Flash. You know, as they plant those, you know, pain discs on all the Dominators and drive them off. So yeah, it was very, very good. So, what do you say? Shaka thumbs up? Shaka thumbs down? I would have to say Shaka thumbs up for Legends of Tomorrow, and a big Shaka thumbs up for the entire, you know, crossover event. Definitely looking forward to seeing much more. I would hope that, you know, well, they said that we are supposed to get a crossover event like this at least once a year with the shows, and maybe fewer, you know, a couple here and there tidbits of one person crossing over, you know, whether it be from Team Flash, Team Arrow, or the Legends, you know, kind of bumping into each other. Until, I suspect, Stein's daughter takes over, you know, the merging into Firestorm with Jax. I suspect she'll end up on Team Flash a little bit, just because that's kind of where they are. So I don't know what that means. If they can support another character, they got so many side characters on the Flash already, and Arrow's no different. So I don't know. I don't know. Does that mean Caitlyn's going to be leaving? I suppose her evil side could take over for a little while. You know, I guess if anybody needs a break, they can always call, you know, in her, that actress, for Stein's daughter, to go ahead and do the science stuff, as they say. But yeah, so very excited to see the rest of the season after this midterm break. And of course, future seasons showing more and more crossovers. So here we have it. The Super Friends are formed. The big three of the DC universe, at least on CW television side, the Berlantiverse, consisting of Arrow, Supergirl, and the Flash. All right. Aloha.